welcome to this channel. I am Kouki K. So for this particular video, I would love to share with you all my personal perspective on there's no enemy. Like literally, there's no enemy. And the reason I want to speak on this is because in our everyday life, there are so many people around us in all sorts of relationship, all sorts of dynamics, situationship. Everyone would find the opposition their enemies in a sense, right? It could happen in political stance, it could happen in any kind of relationship, romantic wise, or even within family dynamics, even workplace. So I just want to point it out here to assist you to contribute to breaking such an illusion. Because in fact, there is opposition. It is opposition because we live in a dualistic setting. So obviously, we would have the opposition. It is just a natural phenomenon. It's just a natural thing. It is how the system is constructed, and thus how we experience the system that we are here experiencing would naturally have oppositions. S with an S. It is not that there's only one opposition, but actually many. The oppositions are not actually trying to bring us down, but is with the human emotions, human conception, the idea of superiority, the idea of hierarchy would then cause many of us think in terms of opposition equals enemies. But in fact, opposition is just as how we can see positivity to negativity. But it does not mean that negativity is bad, nor positivity is good. It's simply the nature of it. It's the nature of the system. So if we put this all in a scientific lens, perspective to seeing it, we would then realize that there's actually no enemies, but oppositions, yes. But the oppositions are how, there's light, there would be darkness. How there's positive, would there be negative? How there's tall, there would be short. Because it's a dualistic setting would then bring about such natural results or byproduct of it. And so enemy is a perception when we experience separate consciousness. Because if we think if we see everyone, if we see the world in oneness, or say unity consciousness, we would not actually see anyone as enemies. Even if when our viewpoints collide, even when we do have disagreements with each other, but it would not take away respect or love between us, between anyone, with oneself. Because it is the understanding that is not about controlling or overpowering another party or other parties. Only then would mean I'm safe, or I am better, or I'm the best. It is not about this. It's not about who is better than who. It's about what it is. It's simple as that. It's simply what is my truth, what is this person's truth, because everyone has his or her own truth. So it is not that I have to convince you, or you have to convince me, or I have to be convinced by you or him or her, nor saying that you are right and so I'm wrong. It's about standpoints. It's about understanding different people's perspectives. Only then we would see the world as one. So is there enemy? No. There's no such thing as enemy if we see from a high perspective. But if we see from a perspective where it involves a lot of human emotions and a lot of especially jealousy, hatred, all these kind of emotions would blind us from seeing the truth of we are actually all one. We're all one. Okay, so now I'm gonna speak in two contexts. Okay, speak about two contexts. The first context would be about the spiritual realm. Okay, so that would be much easier for us to understand, right? So the spiritual realm would be the first context we talk about. Now the second context that we're going to talk about would be on the human realm, right? On a daily basis, how we can take certain examples to seeing into there's actually no enemies. So I might talk about political wise or even certain romantic things or even family dynamics. Okay, so that would be for the human realm. Now let's start with the spiritual realm first. Why is the spiritual realm would be related to the topic of there's no enemies, right? Well, there are so many different theories, or for some people it could be facts or truths, right? It doesn't really matter. I would say stories. There have been many stories about, how certain deities or gods, celestial beings from other dimensions or from other star systems, they have come to our planet here on Earth, causing certain things to happen. Okay, or say that people would be saying like how Earth is a prison, how we are being trapped, how we're being controlled by other extraterrestrial beings, and that would be on the spiritual aspect of it, right? Even to the point of Lucifer or Satan, right? How these are considered as negative forces. They're bad guys. They are, bad people. They harm people. They take like material things in exchange when you sell your soul to the devil, right? There are all kinds of stories like this. Now I'm just gonna put it in one way, one context. There's no enemy. There's no enemy, because people would see, like even in Christianity, they would say Satan is the bad guy. Now that's an enemy. This is what humans have been thinking in this way, that we need to have a common enemy so that we can work towards this now that we are united, because we have one common enemy, so then we can that happens to the same in the political situation. Yeah, right? If you understand what is happening on Earth right now, the war situation between countries, the nations, they all need to find one common enemy. But there's no enemy. This is what I'm trying to say. So we're going to go into that later in the human realm part. I'm going to stick with the spiritual realm first. The spiritual realm, people would be saying like, oh, some people say archons. The archons, they create this AI matrix to control us. I've seen other people talking about this on YouTube. Many people would say such thing, these kind of spiritual things. I'm not saying that they are right or wrong. No, I just want to simply say that there's no need to project or spread any kind of hatred or any kind of opposition. Kind of like they're bad, they're the bad guys. Because even if these people are not speaking about they're the bad guys, like air quotes, okay, they actually spread the emotion of fear. Now that is not doing anything good, because fear is not actually a frequency that is beneficial for anyone, right? On this planet, it doesn't feel good. It doesn't feel good, and fear is alongside it doesn't feel good, right? It also would manifest in all kinds of self-destructive behaviors, as well as harmful behaviors towards other people. So it is not a win-win situation, nor a win situation. It's a lose-lose situation. So why would anyone speak on such things like this? So what I mean by this is, why would such a situation happen? Because when there is the idea of an enemy, would then cause such a mindset to arise. As in, they did this, and so now we are being trapped, and so they're trying to control us, and so we have to fight back. We have to we have to, not necessarily. It's not that they are our enemy. It's not about the people. That's what I want to point out. It's not about the people. It's not about the person. It's about the situation. We have to be very clear with this to distinguish. It's not about the person. Don't direct to a certain person, a certain group of people. See it as it is. If they did something, yes, they did it. If this is what they are planning to do, yes, they are planning it. It is the situation. It's not about the people. So because the reason that it's so important to distinguish this, even if it's on the spiritual realm, because there are many different dimensions, right? Different planes, different realms. Spiritually speaking, there are certain higher frequency beings, and there are certain considerably lower frequencies, right? Kind of beings. But does that mean the lower frequency ones, they are the bad ones? Or the ones that are like in higher frequency, vibration-wise, heart vibration, are they the good ones? It does not necessarily mean that, but in the human conception, humans usually would see it in this way. The higher one would be the best, the lower one would be the worst. It's just about seeing from a scientific lens would be the best way to understand the situation. There's no good or bad, as in, if we involve emotion of pointing fingers. That's what I'm trying to say. Because the good and bad have these two words, good, bad. They have had so much emotional connotation encapsulated into them. So when we say good, it's like, ooh, good, they're good. But it's bad, bad. It's like negative. Abandon them. It's like this kind of feelings is bad. So it's about rejection. When we reject anything, it means separating. And when we separate anything, it means separate consciousness. And the source, the root cause of all kinds of suffering in this world is the separation from unity consciousness. That's the root cause. That's why I'm stressing on it again and again. There's no enemy. Because when we see anyone as enemy, it means rejection. I reject you to be on the same I reject you to deserve the same respect. I reject you to deserve what I deserve. I reject you because we don't see the same thing. I reject you because you don't agree with me. Now you are my enemy. That is rejection, right? When we reject anyone or anything, it's separate consciousness. So no matter if it's on the spiritual or on the human realm, on spiritual aspect, there are many different kind of celestial beings. Some are with higher frequency, some are with lower frequency. Heart chakra wise, okay, it doesn't matter. It doesn't mean that this is a bad guy, this is a good guy, just judging by the frequency. No, is simply as it is. There's no judging. For the actions, they would have to bear their own consequences based on what they carry out. The actions, it's just a natural order. Okay, in nature, it's just how the universe is constructed. So it's not necessary to say they're the bad guys, or even with the emotions of saying that they are the bad guys. The illusion of it, alluding they are the bad guys. No, they're not the bad guys. They simply did or are doing something that they want to do because of a certain reason. And that reason is because of the root cause is separate consciousness. Okay, that's it. So it's not about they're the bad guy. It's just they cannot see the fuller picture. And that's it. And it's not even because they can't see the fuller picture that means they're more stupid. No, it's simply they cannot see the fuller picture from an even higher perspective, scientifically speaking. There's no emotion needs to be involved here, because whenever we involve emotions, would usually involve judgment, judging other people, criticizing. So, yeah, I would say the neutral stance is very important here when it comes to understanding there's actually no enemies. So that would be the spiritual realm wise. Like, even on the spiritual realm, there's no enemy. No. No. There's no enemy. Everything is, I would actually say, quite scientific. Everything is like an experiment. Even when it comes to like people saying Anunnakis, they come here to do the DNA testing, whatever it is, yeah, it's an experiment. It's an experiment, that's it. And when human puts on the human lens to it, the filter, they would say, oh, they come here to turn us into slaves. Oh, they make us bad. They make us, work for them. I'm not saying that it has to be right or wrong or true or false. It's just that it's not going to do anyone good if you think in this way. If people choose to see in this way, the best way is to go within and literally seek for inner balance and seek from within. Do your own thing. There's no need to really care much about that. It's more about liberating oneself from suffering. So the more that we try, the more that one chooses to reject, like they're bad guys, that means fear. If anything causes us to experience the emotion related to fear, that is not helping us to go anywhere, for spiritual evolution, right? Expansion of consciousness. I mean, that's a pointer that we can know, we can check, we can self-check all the time. Is it actually allowing me to see from a higher perspective, helping me to feel more peaceful, to feel more calm, to really reinforcing that understanding of I choose peace. I choose peace. I choose peace. And when I choose peace, there's no enemy, because it's neutral. Right? It's neutral. No enemy. So now when it comes to the human realm is full of quite a lot of enemies. Perceived enemies, I would say. Perceived enemies. Because, there are different political parties, there are different countries, there are different colleagues, there are different people kind of like fighting for the same thing. And so they then have to fight against each other to fight for that thing, right? To get that thing that they want. They all want. Whatever it is. It could be a person. It could be resources. It could be a title, a status, right? It could be a position, a job position. It can be so many things. And people just fight against each other just to get the situation. Right? It's situation. It's situation. It's either an object, it's either an idea of something, but never actually about a person. Never. It's just about how people think. Now, because I want this, but you also want it, so if you get it, that means I'm worse. I'm inferior. Because you get it, so now that means I'm not as good as you. That's human conception. But in fact, it's simply that, okay, he gets it. He got the spot. End of story. If a person is not insecure with oneself, you would not see yourself inferior to anyone else. So what's the root cause? It's not about the title. It's not about a person. It's about you, oneself. It's about us, each of us. I feel insecure. Okay. Why? Because I think I'm not good enough. Because I don't have a very solid foundation for my own self-worth. I don't see myself properly as who I truly am. I am identified by all of this in the external, and so I now feel very, very embarrassed that I cannot get that spot, that title. But this person did. And now I have hatred growing inside me because now this person, because of his success or her success, makes me feel inferior, makes me embarrassed. But is it true? No. It's simply the situation. So we have to learn to distinguish between situation and people. Situation doesn't, when we look at the situation, it is very objective. It is from a scientific perspective. And when we look at people, usually we would bring in the filters of emotions and comparisons, but in an emotional way. So if we can also learn to distinguish this when we look at people, that would be much more peaceful, right? Much more neutral, because it's neutral. So even when it comes to any kind of relationship, there's no right or wrong. People might say like, oh, he stole my wife, or she stole my husband, or stole my boyfriend, such and such. Like, he cheats on me. Yes, because it involves emotions. One would feel hurt. It's valid. It is valid because of the feelings that we do feel as human beings, as sentient beings. And at the same time, we have this programming in us since kids that we would think, okay, so if you don't want me, that means that I'm being betrayed because I have trust in you, right? It is true. We would actually feel this way. It's because of many different kind of factors playing out together in the background, in our background, like our programming, would cause us to feel betrayed or triggered emotional-wise. But does that mean that this person is an enemy because of how I feel? How I feel is not really because of about the person. Yes, it's because about the actions carried out by certain individuals, but it's about the actions, but not about the person. And the actions would then formulate or cause such a situation to arise. So what am I actually suffering from? If I were to say, any kind of betrayal or any kind of uncomfortable situations, is the situation. It's not actually the person causing me sufferings. It's me choosing how to navigate through the situation. It's me choosing how to see beyond the situation would allow me to liberate myself from all kinds of suffering. It's never about the people. It's always about how we see beyond the situation, how we navigate wisely and consciously through any kinds of situations. So at the end of the day, there's no enemy. There's no enemy. It's a perceived kind of illusion. It's a projection. Is an illusion that we choose not to take responsibilities for oneself. So I can simply externalize, I can simply blame on other people and not taking good care of my own inner state. So to wrap it up, there's no enemy. If we ever see anyone in the external surrounding us as enemies, that's because there's something here within ourselves. There's resistance. Like we are going against something within ourselves, would then manifest in the idea of enemies in the external. So I choose peace. I choose peace. I choose peace. It's coming to reconcile with one's own peace would then dissolve all kinds of illusions in the external. I hope this video finds you well. And thank you so much for listening, for your patience, your love, and your support. And I hope you find this video interesting. And I wish you a wonderful day or wonderful night. And I hope to see you in the next one.